So let's start this conversation with a new global blockchain report, just still hot as it were, off the press, and that's coming just as we had that new global blockchain bond, the first ever. Let's stick with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where our studio, downtown studio, is with Andrew. Andrew, good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning. It's fantastic to be here, Bosun.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Let's go straight to this report, the executive summary. And the first question I'm going to ask is this. Blockchain is here, whether we like it or not. What should be my next move?
Well, I think what's critical about what's happening with blockchain is we've really moved on from this confusion with cryptocurrency, and now people realize you can have blockchain and you don't have to get involved with the crypto. So what is blockchain? It's a distributed ledger where multiple parties have exactly the same information. So it increases transparency, increases accuracy, it reduces costs, it increases time. And you talked about the first bond issue by the World Bank on the blockchain. So what does that mean? So all of the people that are the underwriters of the bonds, the World Bank, the investors, are all working off of one ledger of who owns what, when a transaction's happened, has it been settled. It's a fantastic achievement.
Yes, it is. Can we trust blockchain, Andrew?
Well, I think that in our report what we say is what people need to do is to take this step by step. So if we look out 10 years, I don't think there's any doubt blockchain is going to be a massive part of our lives and our economy, but it is still new. So what we're saying to people is, look, you get a consortium together in an industry and you take one step to put something in the blockchain, you experiment with it, you get comfortable because it is a new technology. It's also a new way of working with your partners where you have this shared information. So we're not trying to rush into this to put it everywhere in 2 years. As I said, this is going to be a 10 or 15-year journey, and people have to be convinced the technology works. Of course, it has to be set up properly because the whole point of the blockchain is that all of the participants have different rights on the blockchain to alter information, and that's recorded for all time. So let's take it step by step.
But again, if you look at the global movement for blockchain, FinTech is leading by far, with governments around the world coming a very distant fourth, fifth position by the report PwC released. Why is this so? And do you think the government, they're supposed to regulate what we do in businesses and sometimes in our personal life, is going to be playing catch up with the financial services industry?
Well, I think it was obvious the financial services industry from the beginning that this technology was very useful for them. But I think other places are catching up. So if we take Nigeria, the most advanced blockchain case in Nigeria is actually, people may be surprised, Nigerian customs. So they set up a blockchain for the excise tax. So that has the manufacturers, it has the Standards Organization of Nigeria, of course, the customs themselves, NAVDAC for pharmaceuticals, and they ran a fantastic trial. And they are the most advanced, and we're going to see that roll out. So I think the other groups are going to catch up fast. Pharmaceutical integrity is coming, and people here in this country are talking about putting it on the blockchain. We've talked for a long time about land registry, because if you don't know you own the land, if you don't know who has the mortgage, then it's not easy for real estate to develop, but blockchain addresses all of that. So I'm not worried that it's only going to be financial services. All the other industries are coming along very, very quickly.
Ease of doing business, Andrew.
And just to add,
yes.
Bosun, let me just, though, add one other thing that's very topical at the moment. I mean, we're all aware of the news with MTN and the 4 banks in Nigeria. You think about if we had blockchain technology, we would not have this issue, because at the time that these transactions happened, you would have had on the blockchain the CBN, all the banks involved, MTN, other parties to this. They would have had the same information. The CCI, the Certificate of Capital Importation, would have been on the blockchain. The preconditions for the expatriation of capital would have been on the blockchain, and would have been that transparency. But now we're in a situation we're trying to reconstruct history from different people's records 10, 15 years later almost, and then come up with a regulatory solution. So the blockchain is going to prevent these things from happening in the future.
Andrew, I'm interested in blockchain. But again, do you think the regulatory authorities in this environment, in particular in Nigeria, are a little bit wary of this new world of fast-moving things they don't know, things, situations and processes that are sitting somewhere in the cloud, somewhere in Singapore, wherever it is, and we're going to be using it to run how we do things?
Well, I think the regulators in today's financial world, for example, the CBN and NICOM, they have a very difficult job because things are moving very quickly. But I think the CBN has done a good job of staying on top of it. They set up a blockchain committee. They studied it. They've come out and made some statements about the risk of cryptocurrency, which I think are very appropriate. But they are embracing blockchain. But the truth is that the private sector is always going to be ahead of the regulators. But I think regulators around the world, and also the ones here, have recognized they need to embrace the FinTech, and they need to give it space to grow to make a difference. So it's not just blockchain, it's things like Internet of Things, it's things like financial inclusion, mobile money, all of that. But they're doing the best they can, and I don't think we should be critical of the regulators. They are very aware of how important this is for the development of our economy and the development of increasing incomes here.
Let's talk about enterprise risk management. This is very important, the heart of blockchain, in particular for companies doing business.
Right, so enterprise risk management system, the whole point of this now is that you've got your system for your own company, right? What blockchain does is now extend the appropriate parts so that other counterparties both write to it and have the same information that you have. So in the financial world, all issues around, we talked about settlement, integrates into your risk management system, valuation, so that the different parties have the same valuation of the same asset. I mean, you're not giving your data to secret data, everyone. The way this can be constructed is what's appropriate to be shared among parties is shared. What's private is kept private. But the shared part, everyone then agrees on what the record is. And that's obviously going to reduce the risk in the system. It's going to give more accurate, in the financial world, more accurate valuations, more accurate view of asset values. So it's a big step forward.
Andrew Nevin, thank you very much. We'll have this conversation moving forward some other time with you. Thank you, Chief Economist at PwC, Andrew Nevin.